What's up? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. And today, this morning, we're going to come back with another edition of What's the Better Listen? Um, did our first one with Larry June and Currency versus Boldy James and Ransom and their projects. Go check that video out. Definitely check out on Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. And make sure you like, share, subscribe as well. We've got to get our time to get our viewers up, and our subs up. You know what I mean? Try and get to 500 here, make that push with our group. But anyway, as I digress, there are a lot of good hip hop. There's a lot of good hip hop coming out this year. So much for me that I can't keep up with it, and a lot of reviews that I gotta get back to. You know what I mean? So, and hopefully I'm gonna get back to those and catch up before the summer starts, because summer we have even more people coming. Of course, Drake is dropping next week. Rick Ross is dropping. T.I. is going to drop this year. They got a lot of big names and heavy hitters that are going to drop with anticipated projects. So today, we're going to talk about two records. First, we're going to talk about the new AZ project, Do or Die 3, that just dropped this week. Just dropped. And I'm going to give my take on that and what I thought about the project. And I'm going to review another project that came out a couple weeks earlier. I want to say like 2 weeks ago. And that's Benny the Butcher and BSF, Black Soprano Family. And their project that dropped that kind of caught my ear, kind of caught me by surprise. I've always been into Griselda and their wave. I think Conway's project last year was very good. Benny had a project last year that kind of left a little to be desired, but we'll talk about his new project, Ashes in the Safe. But first, let's get to the Do or Die 3 project that just dropped. Let me share my screen. And let's get back to that. Let's do what we do. Let's talk about what we like, what I didn't like, and we'll sum it up in the end. So, Do or Die 3, 13 songs. Little bit of an anticipated project, given that it was on the Mass Appeal series. So I'll start off by saying, AZ is a legendary rapper. I think he's one of the top 50 MCs of all time. Of Sugar Hill fame, of Life's a Bitch fame from Illmatic. And, I'll get to later, him and his affiliation with Nas, and this project being on Mass Appeal, Nas's label, they've always been linked. And whenever they work together, they just have an amazing dynamic with each other. They had one of the standout tracks on Light Years, the DJ Premier and Nas project from last year, which I reviewed, way back when. It seems like eons ago now, but go check that out on Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. I reviewed that. But this one right here comes with a little bit of anticipation, given it's got the big name Do or Die 3 off of the certified classic Do or Die, and it came with a little bit of energy and a little bit more oomph to it, given it was on Mass Appeal. So, what did I like about this project? I would say the lyrics. AZ was in his bag. AZ has been better in the past, I think. The lyrics was still dope, still hard hitting. Metaphors, I would say a little bit dated, but it still had the effect. I mean, if I had to give it a number, I'd still give him like a 7.5 to an 8. I'd say 8 out of 10 on this. I think he still brought it. He still brought the energy, the bravado, the tone. AZ has been a little bit better, but still, that was a strong point in this album. Flows and energy were good, but again, AZ has been better in the past. I thought the flows were good on some of the songs, which I'll get to. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the flows were good, but I think some of his energy lacked a little bit. You know what I mean? His energy towards the end on some of the songs. Again, it sounded dated. I think one of the last songs, like the second to the last song, he was a little bit off beat. But still, overall, I would still say the flows were like probably like a 7.5, because some of the other songs on here, 8, it was vintage AZ. And I would say the song concepts too. Great, you know, you got a little bit of motivational energy. The storytelling on here was pretty good. You know, solid. It was solid to good from AZ. Now he has been better in the past, but I think those were the strong points of this album overall. Standout tracks that I liked, I definitely would check out Uniqueness, definitely, which is from Mike and Keys, who very underrated production team. Did a good job on the Game project, which I did review. Check that out on Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. On the Everything But the Last Credits, I think the Last Credits project or something like that. But go check that out on Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. Uniqueness was dope. I think the joint with Nas is probably the best song on here. Another Mike and Keys produced joint. I did think that Nas out-rapped AZ on this one. I would say their song on Light Years was better than this, because they were more back and forth. The energy was better with them on that one, but this was still maybe the best joint. I think maybe the standout song on this album is either between that or Fresh Water, the next one, which I think AZ was just so smooth on here. Oh my God. Like Fresh Water, I mean, that's really what this was. He was like H2O on this one. He was just flowing effortlessly on this one. So he definitely did his thing on that one. So I gotta say, Surprise, Fresh Water. I would say, what was the other one that I liked, man? Surprise, Fresh Water. There was another joint. Yeah, Uniqueness. That's another joint. I would probably say the last joint, or the second to the last joint. I Was Once There Too is dope, and Love of My Life are the ones that I think were pretty dope tracks on there. It's kind of more of like a darker record, if you will. So those are the tracks that I thought were pretty much the songs that stood out to me. What I didn't like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Even though Mike and Keys came on here, the production on here I was not feeling it. This album did sound boring and dated at times. I'm not gonna lie to you. This album could have came out literally in 2002, and nobody would have made a difference. And I do think that it took away from this. Like I was bored. I really was bored on this. I really was bored on this. Another joint that I thought was good. Another joint was So High. So High. I just that's the one. I was like, yeah. I was looking at my notes. I was like, So High definitely stood out for me as one of the dope tracks on this joint. Um back to the production. Really wasn't feeling it. It just took away, and it was just a slow project. Like it didn't have enough bite to it. You know what I mean? Which I'm gonna get to in my next review with the beats on that album that had a whole lot of bite to it. Even though it was more boom bap production, but production on here was lacking. Really wasn't feeling the production of the beats on here. Um, as far as this is gonna, and I brought this up, some of the energy on here, like I mentioned, AZ was kind of rapping off beat on a couple of the tracks. Um, Even though on the strong tracks he was flowing effortlessly, it kind of lacked a little bit of energy on this, and it had to do also with the production as to why that took away from here. Um, what else was on my mind on this? Yeah, it did just take away. There was no bite to this album. There was just nothing that was on here that was just a flat certified yo. That song is that shit. That song is a certified banger. No certified bangers on here, which took away from the energy. And the flows were a little bit dated. So even though I said the flows were a strong point, on some of the songs, they also weren't too good as well. You know what I mean? Like it did sound a little bit like plotting in a way. You know what I mean? And I don't think the replay value is strong on this. I'll be honest with you. I thought this album, and I may get heat for this, a little bit mid. You know what I mean? It there was outside of a few tracks, the Nas joint, which again I think they were better. I think the track they had on Light Years was better. Outside of a few joints, like the 3-4 joints that I named, nah, I don't know. Not a lot of replay value on here, and I don't think I'm gonna be listening to this in the next 3 months or so. Just pretty. I mean, it just was a mid. To me, was a mid project. Overall, I would have to go with, if I'm gonna rate this thing, I would have to go 6.5 out of 10. Which is in the mid range. Could I go to a 7? Yeah, maybe 6.5, 7, whatever. Still mid. And I don't really see much excitement or replay value. And it's a little bit of a letdown given the classic namesake of this album. You know what I mean? Because Do or Die, the original, was a certified classic. I mean, like on some of these songs, like another thing, like he redid basically a remake of Ho Happy Jackie, Still Jackie, how many years later, which I guess is kind of a takeoff of Nas and how he did redid or updated Second Childhood on Light Years. You know what I mean? But it was like a watered down, redundant story, and it's almost like you just redid Ho Happy Jackie how many years later with a really weak beat. Sounded like it was really cheaply done, like a cheap beat. You know what I mean? And there was nothing in the story that really drew me to it. You know what I mean? Then you had the whole Happy Jackie skit, like why? You know what I mean? Why would you do that? Why don't you come with something different? You know what I mean? Even the second joint, No Need for Lactose. it was like a watered down version of the original, original version from Do or Die One. You know what I mean? Even though his lyrics was pretty good on that. You know what I mean? It's like, and I get it, it's Do or Die 3, but it just lacked in some areas, you know. I actually like, and people might not agree with this, I like Do or Die 2 better than this. You know what I mean? I think he had better features on there, like Rick Ross was on there. I know that song stands out. Like, I think that that was a better project. So I'm just going with a 6.5 out of 10. I might get heat for this because I know AZ is a legendary lyricist, but could have been better. You know what I mean? It's just mid to me. You know what I mean? Just mid. So I will go with 6.5 out of 10. Do or Die 3. So on to our next project. We're gonna go to Benny the Butcher and Ashes in the Safe. Yeah, so Ashes in the Safe with BSF affiliate Fugo Bass on there. He's on every song, so it's like a duo album in a way. This album was pretty dope to me. What did I like off of here? I would say the bars. The bars was vintage Benny. He had a couple of bars on here that really stood out. You know what I mean? And Benny is a punchline guy. He's a punchline rapper, punchline king. He definitely did his thing on this one. And Fugo Bass didn't disappoint. Like, he had a lot of gritty bars too as well. So I'd say the lyrics was pretty good on here. The production, really dark, really dark, gritty. He had a couple of bangers on here that I really was messing with. I'll name down the songs that I mess with like that, like Sundial. I'd say Rev X with Sule. Fighting Irish is a certified banger. That joint is hard. That joint is hard. That joint is real deal. Like, I'm messing with that joint. Warehouse with OT the Real, and Rick Hyde. Definitely feeling that. And also the last joint, Castella Marze War. I'm messing with that. Also Big Shirley too. Big Shirley is another one that I mess with. They're definitely standout tracks right there, but the production really set the tone too. You know what I mean? Really set the tone on this album. And speaking of tone, flows and energy, I like the way Fugo Bass and Benny played off each other. They really were effective with that. So I would say the flows and energy were pretty good as well. So I definitely like that. I do think that this album does have replay value. Like, I'd say this album right here, I would say is it definitely has replay value. I'll be playing this for a little bit. I mean, this is that vintage Griselda sound, that vintage, Buffalo, Rochester, that vintage style from Griselda that they bring, and the tone really comes with it, provides a great energy for this record. I'm really messing with that. Also the features, OT the Real from Philly, definitely check him out. He is very underrated, underrated street MC. He's got a bite to him. He's got a ferocity to him as a lyricist. I definitely check him out, and he did his thing on this. That reminds me, I got to review his album that recently dropped. They've talked about it a little bit in my group on Facebook. Hip Hop Roundtable presents the review. Definitely check that out on Facebook. So OT the Real definitely brought it on here when it came to the features. So definitely I like that. What I didn't like, not too much. Maybe it could have had a feature from Conway or West Side Gun, but I'm hearing Conway and Benny aren't on the best of terms right now, so I don't know about that. Maybe a West Side Gun feature because he's good at hooks and good as to bring energy. So outside of that, it could have been a little bit longer. Could have stretched to 12, maybe. You know what I mean? But this isn't a traditional Benny the Butcher pure album. This is BSF. Maybe a feature from El Camino or Stove Got Cooks, something like that. That would have been great. But outside of that, I think they did their thing on this one. Overall, I would give this album, I would say this is a solid 8 out of 10. This right here, I say is a dope project. Right now, it would be in my top 10 right now. I couldn't name you my top 10 off the top, but it would make the top 10. I would say my top 5 right now, I would probably have to say is J. Cole Fall Off. I would say Spiral Staircases is in there. This might make my top 5. I got to think about that. Those two would definitely make that the top 5. I got to think what else I had this year in my top albums list. I'll pull it up real quick. Pull up my best of 2026. Yeah, I think those two definitely stand out. I would also probably have to say who else had a standout project this year? The Wiz Khalifa and Currency. I like that joint. Currency's having a strong year too. I would say this joint's probably top 5 right now. I would probably say. OT the Real, I gotta go ahead and get to that album. I think that's in my top 10 too. So I gotta rate that one as well. So I mean, it's filling up. We got some time this year, but those are some of the standout projects this year. So this would probably be right now in my top 5. So what was the better listen? I would clearly say Benny the Butcher and BSF Ashes in the Safe. I would take that over Do or Die 3. Even though AZ is still one of my favorite MCs of all time, personal favorites. He's probably my personal, I would say AZ is in my personal top 10 rappers of all time. I would have to say he's in that top 10. I mean, my personal list, I got Nas, I got Hove, I got 50, I got Jadakiss, I got Eminem. If we're gonna go down south, I like Scarface, I like Jeezy, DMX is a personal favorite of mine. Tupac, you know what I mean? Personal favorite of mine. And I probably have to say, Biggie, of course. So I would say, I mean, maybe outside the top 10, but AZ would probably be up there as one of my favorite rappers of all time. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I definitely would check that out. Check out both albums. I mean, check out AZ Do or Die 3. You tell me what you think. Was this album, fire to you? I mean, tell me what you think. Was I a little bit too hard on this project? You let me know. Definitely check out Benny the Butcher and BSF, Ashes in the Safe. I think that's a dope project. I go with a solid 8 out of 10. It's probably making my top 10 right now. You know what I mean? So you tell me what you think. I'll be back with some more content. There's a lot to talk about. And definitely we're going to get to the whole hoopla around Drake. We're finally going to see what Iceman is about next week. So definitely we will be reacting to that. So with that, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll catch up with y'all soon. All right? Peace.